Hello, I'm here. Today we are going to learn a very nice story which is called A Heart Closed from the Improve Your English series. This is a collection of stories especially written for those who want to improve their listening and reading skills in English. These are graded readers, so they're easy to understand. The vocabulary has been simplified and there are also comprehension questions at the end of each story so that you can check your understanding. Let's start. Once upon a time in a faraway country, there was a young girl who had never known her parents. She grew up in an orphanage and lived with many other children. The girl was beautiful, but she was also proud and selfish. She didn't like sharing her toys or helping others. One day when she was 10 years old, she met a handsome prince. He was kind and polite. The girl liked him a lot and soon she fell in love with him, but the prince didn't know anything about her bad character. 3 months later, he asked her to marry him and she said yes. They got married and went to live in the prince's castle. At first, the princess was happy in her new home, but after a few weeks, she started to get bored. She had a beautiful room with a big bed and a lot of nice clothes. There were also many servants to help her, but she didn't appreciate any of it. Instead, she spent all her time complaining. She complained about her food, her clothes, her shoes, and even the weather. She didn't like anything and her bad character made all the servants hate her. They started to avoid her and didn't do anything for her. One day, the princess wanted to have a bath. She told one of the maids to heat some water and bring her a big bag of lavender to put in the bath, but the maid forgot to bring the lavender. When the princess saw this, she became very angry. She started to scream and shout at the poor girl. The maid felt humiliated and didn't say a word. She just took the princess's dirty laundry and left the room. The princess needed to change her clothes, but all the maids had gone out for the day. She was alone in the castle and had no one to help her. She tried to take off her dress by herself, but it was too tight. She pulled and pushed, but it wouldn't come off. She was very upset. She hated her beautiful clothes and wanted to be naked. Finally, she managed to pull off her dress and threw it on the floor. Then she went to the window and saw a man walking in the garden below. She started to scream, "Hey, you! Come here and undress me." The man looked up and saw the princess in her underwear. He was shocked and quickly hid behind a tree. After a few minutes, he came back and shouted, "I'm not going to undress you. Why should I do that?" The princess was furious and screamed, "You have to do it. I am the princess and I want you to undress me." She kept screaming and shouting until the man finally agreed. He climbed up the wall and entered the princess's room. He took off her underwear and threw them on the floor. Then he took off his own clothes and jumped into the princess's bed. He kissed her and touched her body. He was the first man who had ever touched her. Meanwhile, the other servants were coming back to the castle. They saw the man climbing through the window and immediately called the guards. They entered the room and arrested the man. The princess was scared and tried to explain what had happened, but no one believed her. They all thought she had invited a man into the castle and were very angry with her. The king was very upset. He didn't know what to do with his wife. She had made everyone's life in the castle miserable. At that moment, a wise woman appeared. She said to the king, "Don't worry, I will teach your wife a lesson she will never forget." The king thanked the woman and left the room. She then turned to the princess and said, "You need to leave this castle and go into the forest. You must stay there for 3 days without any food or water. If you don't return after 3 days, you can stay in the castle again and be my servant." The princess was very sad, but she had no choice. She went out into the forest and started to walk. She walked and walked until she came across a small cottage. She knocked on the door and a nice-looking woman opened it. "Good morning," said the woman. "Can I help you?" The princess was very ashamed because she was only wearing a nightgown. She lied and said, "I'm here to clean your house." The woman smiled and said, "I don't need any help today, but why don't you come inside and have some breakfast? You look tired and hungry." The princess sat down at the table and ate a lot of bread and cheese. She drank some milk and felt much better. The woman said, "I know who you are. You are the princess, aren't you? Why did you run away from the castle?" The princess told her everything. She told her about her bad character, her lazy and proud ways, and how she had made everyone hate her. The woman listened and said, "You need to learn to be humble and kind, only then will people respect you. Come and live with me. I will teach you how to be a good person." The princess was very grateful and agreed. She helped the woman with the housework and learned how to cook and clean. She also met the woman's daughter, who was a beautiful girl with a kind heart. The princess liked her very much and soon became good friends with her. After a week, the princess went back to the castle. She was no longer proud or selfish. Instead, she was humble and polite. The king and the other servants were very happy to see her. They had missed her and were glad that she had changed. She apologized for her bad behavior and promised to be a good princess from now on. The king was very proud of his wife. He hugged her and said, "I knew you could do it." The princess lived happily ever after. She spent her days organizing parties and helping the poor. She never forgot the valuable lessons she had learned from the wise woman. Comprehension questions. What was the princess like? She was beautiful, but she was also proud and selfish. She didn't like sharing her toys or helping others. How did the princess feel when she moved into the castle? At first, the princess was happy in her new home, but after a few weeks, she started to get bored. Why did the princess hate her beautiful clothes? Because she couldn't wear them by herself. Who helped the princess when she was in the forest? A nice-looking woman. What lesson did the princess learn in the forest? She learned to be humble and kind. Now let's repeat some of the difficult words from the story. Humble. To be humble. To have a humble character means to be modest, to think that you are not better than others. A person who thinks that he is better than others is called arrogant. Lazy. To be lazy means to be too slow and inactive. Proud. To be proud means to think highly of yourself. Selfish. To be selfish means to think only about yourself and not about other people. Kind. To be kind means to be generous, helpful and considerate towards others. Angry. To be angry means to feel strong annoyance and displeasure. Naked. To be naked means to be without any clothes on one's body. Furious. To be furious means to be extremely angry. Furious. To be furious means to be extremely angry. Miserable. To make someone's life miserable means to make someone's life full of suffering and unhappiness. Grateful. To be grateful means to be thankful. These were some of the words from today's story. Now it's your turn to tell me something about yourself. Use as many difficult words from today's story as you can. For example, I am a very lazy person. I don't like doing housework. But I am grateful to my parents because they have given me everything and I have never had a miserable life. Okay, now you close your eyes, think about a good English sentence and write it down. Don't forget to use the new words. Write it down here. Ready? Go! And that's our story for today. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe for more content, and if you enjoyed today's story, give it a thumbs up. See you next time.